Now, the way this war starts is a bit interesting. We have Iraq actually being able to conquer Kuwait after some through Kuwait and the United States. So, obviously, war. And also, we have Iraq somehow recruiting Haiti to their side because, in this timeline as well, there was also a military coup against Haiti. And with this, we have Haiti wanting to expand into the Dominican Republic as well, and USA is like, no, they're our allies, so no, you mean, you bad, you stupid. So yeah, that's how that whole thing is gonna break down. So with this, we obviously have USA going to war, and instead, because they don't want this whole thing to turn to a major worldwide global conflict, they call on their allies to stay out of it because it's them and Israel's war. So with this, the Dominican Republic doesn't really know about the plans yet because they just wanna they don't really wanna trigger any mobilization of the Dominican Republic because then Haiti will probably use it as an excuse to feel threatened. Huh? Well, this sounds kind of familiar, doesn't it? Really, doesn't it? Anyways, so with this, we have Israel going to quickly advance into Iraq, but it's going to take a while. Israel tries to push in as much as they can by making a massive bulge to try to get to their capital of what was their capital again? I don't know. I know it's not Islamabad. It's Pakistan. Whatever. It's not important. Baghdad. How? Oh God. How did I forget Baghdad? What the heck is wrong with me? That doesn't matter though. So with this, we have Israel getting a decent push into Iraq, as well as cutting them off into two pieces and being able to mainly squeeze out and encircle the forces. Most of which escape into Iran or Turkey. Which the ones that went to Turkey were met with a very friendly sight of gunfire right to themselves. Against the by the Turkish government. We also have Israel pushing down into Iraq, as well as uh the United States making a landing in Mesopotamia. So now Iraq's dealing with the two front war, and they're getting kind of scared because, oh no, they mean, they bad, they stupid. Which is, yes, going to be a recurring theme. So with this, they decide to call on their ally of Iran. Iran also decides they want to pull in some of their own allies into this war. Um, Yemen decides not to stay in it because Saudi Arabia is extremely close to pulling the trigger onto Iran, but because they can't really tell who really pulled the trigger on this one, because technically Israel got the U.S. in here, but Iraq invaded Kuwait, so who the heck are they going to attack? And also convenience. We also have Turkmenistan being pulled on into this war and Pakistan, which actually gets Afghanistan, not India, surprisingly, because in this timeline they went to war with Pakistan again, and actually got the Hindu Kush. And if you don't know, Afghanistan, the Taliban and Pakistan don't really have the best relationship, despite Pakistan kind of supporting them. But let's just say in this timeline, God is 100% real, and the Taliban is democratically elected, and they actually don't violate human rights. So let's just say that exists in some fairy tale and awesome timeline. We do not want war in with Ukraine and Russia. Russia is bad, says Taliban. Kind of hypocritical, but whatever. Seriously though, look that up. So quickly, we have Pakistan invading to the new Afghanistan, and in hopes of capturing their capital and nothing else, because Afghanistan is mostly mountains, which seem to help them a couple of times in the past and now the future. So now we have Afghanistan's capital being widely exposed, so Pakistan decides to go for a bit of an encirclement. Now these battles are going on simultaneously with Israel and America's push into Iraq, and they're taking a long time. Eventually, though, Afghanistan is able to cut the forces into two, and the Taliban is now pushing down in and encircling the forces. With this, they continue their push through and are almost able to completely wipe out Pakistan from themselves. Um, with this, they decide to launch a counter invasion into Pakistan by gathering a ton of forces and going to plummet right into them. With this, Afghanistan is able to successfully start their counter invasion, and they are able to take Islamabad extremely easily somehow. With this, we have Pakistan considering surrendering. Afghanistan, seeing its success, decides to also invade right deep into Iran. Iran, Iraq. Haha, very funny joke. Um, with this, they take part of their areas. Now, is the Afghan military this strong? Absolutely not, because we do see some Iran pushback. And them also reconnecting with Turkmenistan. And speaking of Turkmenistan, we actually see Turkmenistan forces going to aid the Pakistan forces. Um, Pakistan eventually gathers their forces and is able to retake Islamabad, whilst also kicking Afghanistan out of themselves. Mostly, that is. Back over in Iraq, we see Iraq deciding to do their thing. And with this, they decide to invade into Israel. Because they don't really care about being invaded themselves. They just want, hopefully, their Iraq's strategy is to just invade the enemy enough so they'll get out of here. And with this, we actually see them trapping in the Israel forces after a devastating military push. And now Israel's a bit screwed because all their occupied lands are basically encircled. With this, though, we have Saudi Arabia deciding, screw this, I'm going to war, get some land, might as well. So we see Saudi Arabia going to the aid of Israel and the USA. Now, even if this was a realistic scenario, which it wouldn't be, but even if with the country relationships, I think Saudi Arabia would still join in the blue team because even though in this scenario had them recognize Israel, which they don't in real life, by the way, they're still really good friends with the USA. They're not like the best of friends, but it's mainly just the screw Iran alliance and who doesn't like Iran alliance. So yeah, there you go. The UAE decides to stay neutral while Yemen becomes Yemen. And with this, we see Oman quickly breathing into Yemen and finally combining the two countries into Yemen because in this reality, God decided to be nice today. Seriously, look, that looks so good. I should draw maps. I should make maps like real world maps, not just this kind. So now after peace on Earth is finally instilled because of this, we see some pushback from the blue team. So first we have Israel going in to try to get back with their forces, which they're able to do so, and causing two encirclements, and they also get back with their northern forces. So now Iraq is now re-screwed. So take that as you will, I guess.